Click fraud is a big problem on the internet. Advertisers charge. It's a simple case of deception by online giants, and billions of dollars are at stake. Tom Cuthbert is the president of Click Forensics. He joins us now with his firm's latest findings. And Tom, according to your research, it sounds like the problem is getting worse.
Well, it is, Becky. It continues to grow, and particularly in the area of the content networks. For example, Google AdSense program. The rate has exceeded 28% of all clicks being invalid, with those that advertisers simply should not be paying for.
All right, let's tell people, if they're not familiar with click fraud, what it is. This is a case where advertisers online a lot of times pay for every person who clicks through to their ad.
That's right. Interestingly, as I was coming to the studio this morning, the driver was telling me that he himself had been a victim of click fraud and had been buying terms for his business. Yes, it was actually kind of an interesting conversation. And he said he had lost $600 from a competitor clicking on his ads, and he had had a very difficult time getting any response from the search provider, and actually had tried to go after the guy that was clicking on his ads. But it's a big problem, and in the way that it works, Becky, is that it's a competitive click sometimes. It could also be in a content network where a Google or a Yahoo ad appears on a third-party site. The owner of that site would have a financial incentive for clicks to occur because they share that revenue with the search provider. And that's really where the biggest growth in the problem is occurring. Okay,
so the biggest growth in the problem is occurring here. There are billions of dollars at stake. Are the search engines doing anything to try and fight this?
Well, you know, 6 quarters ago, Becky, you asked me if the search providers would be working with third parties, and I optimistically said that at some point they would. Here we are, 18 months later, and there's no announcement from the third parties. There's no industry standards that have been agreed upon, and advertisers are the ones that continue to suffer from this while Google's revenue continues to roll on up.
Why aren't the advertisers throwing more of a fit themselves? Wouldn't it be in their best interest to come up to the Googles, to come up to the Yahoos and say, forget about it, we're not paying for this anymore?
Well, they really are. I mean, you know, we've got our Click Forensics, our Click Fraud Network has grown significantly. Advertisers are coming to companies like ours to try to help them make sure that they get what they pay for. But if you look at it financially, what's occurring is in the content networks, the revenue is actually, the growth is very much slowing down. Advertisers are very afraid of those areas. And what we're seeing is that in those content networks, over 70% of the sites that make those up are made for ad sites or park domain sites.
Sure.
And these are sites that exist only for the owner of that site to garner clicks and make money on that. And the traffic that comes from those is very bad. And so what we're seeing and hearing is that advertisers are beginning to avoid that area.
Yeah, I guess, Tom, my biggest surprise comes with the idea that the advertisers haven't taken a bigger stance to this point and just absolutely refused. I guess it shows you a little bit about how powerful these online search engines are and that the advertisers don't want to miss out entirely. But, Tom, thank you for bringing us this update, and we'll check back in with you. We would like to hear about whether there is any progress down the road and whether the advertisers are trying to take back the night. Appreciate your coming on today.
Thanks, Becky. Okay.